Hello and welcome to this video tutorial on creating a seasonal effect by taking summer and changing it to autumn. And we'll go back to the original source file, and what we've done is we've replaced a range of different greens with yellows and browns, and we're going to do that in Photoshop Elements. In the magazine you'll see a CS3 version, and they use different tools. You don't have the selective colour option in Elements, but you can replace colour, which is very similar. It kind of works slightly better actually, because you can choose different ranges by sampling them rather than using reds, greens, yellows from a pull down menu. So I'll show you how that works in just a second. And the great thing about editing something digitally is you don't have to hang around for a few months to watch the seasons change. You can get the effect you want. If you need a library shot of an autumn scene, you can modify a summer scene. Okay, and also what we'll do is we'll mimic the effect of a warm early orange glow from seasonal lightings when you've got a lower sun by using a photo filter. So there's a slightly cooler summer light, and here's our photo filter effect. So I'll show you how to do that as well as replacing colours in just a sec. But first what I'll do is just change some of my preferences here, just so we can see bigger thumbnails, because it's always useful to be able to see what you're editing more clearly. So if you go to the More option here and Palette Options, you can choose a nice large thumbnail. Because I'm using a smaller video resolution, I'll choose the largest we can see there, which makes it much easier to spot what's going on. Now let's start off with our original source file, which you'll find on the CD. Here it is. And in Photoshop CS3 you can use selective colour adjustment layer, but we don't have that option here. In fact, we don't have selected colour at all, so we have to come round to a different solution, and that will be using option here in Adjust Colour, and it'll be Replace Colour. Okay, before we do that though, it's always a good idea, good practice, just to copy the original layer. So if things go wrong or weird, and because we're not using adjustment layers in this case, it's nice to have the original to hand in case we make a mistake. Of course, nothing's undoable with Photoshop. You can Control Z to do multiple undos, so we're quite safe really to experiment and not worry about changing things. I remember when Photoshop had no layers at all, so that was a little bit more scary. If you've committed an edit and then saved the file, you had no other option. So I always make a copy out of habit. But it's a good practice. And now, once you've done that, we can start to target these greens, various different shades of greens, and give them an autumn makeover. Let's fast forward time. So go to Enhance, Adjust Colour, and go down to Replace Colour. There's lots of other colour tweaking options here, but this is the most powerful one for this particular challenge. And here's the Replace Colour dialog box. Now the black and white preview option here is very important, because anything that's white is going to be selected and changed, and by default that's going to change the tree trunks and the shadows, and that's really nothing like just changing the leaves. But we can use the sample tool here, the eyedropper, to select exactly the colour range that we like, and we can modify that selection by using the fuzziness slider. If you're not sure about any of the tools, just click over them and you'll see there's an underlined link. Just click on that and up pops the help option, and that will give you tips on whatever you need to know about that particular tool, like the eyedropper for example. So you've got illustrations and things to look at. So if there's nobody around to ask, and if I don't cover everything that you need to know, which hopefully I will do, then you can have a look at those options too. So let's start off by sampling some of the lighter pixels in the shot. Let's Control+ to zoom in. I'm interested in these light greens here, so what I'll do is click to sample, and if it doesn't get enough you can then adjust fuzziness to make it more sensitive, and if it still doesn't show enough white specks, then just click the Add to Sample tool. Again, there's a help option there, and just by clicking anywhere in a light colour you'll add more pixels to the selection. I'm just trying to stick to the lightest range for the moment. Don't want to go too mad initially. That's probably a good start. And I'm going to change the lighter leaves nice and yellow, so I can tweak the fuzziness if there's too much selected or too little. Something like that should do. And then to change the colour, go to Hue and tweak, and you can see there they're going blue, they're going brown, they're going colours that you don't really want them to go. So let's just tweak it and warm it up And if you still can't get that yellow that you want, click on Result and change it by going to this option here, much warmer looking yellow. There we go. And if that's too over the top, you can take the saturation down a tad. And there we have a nice warming and sort of decaying looking yellow for some of our leaves. So that's our first pass. You can see how these colours here equate to these colours here now. Anything that's white will change the pixels in the main image. Okay, indeed okay. I'll click the OK button and you can see our first sample has changed the leaves from a light green to a yellow.